welcome back, and sorry about the brief interruption, but we're back now, and we're going to go by popular demand to the game between Thomas Pitts and Harika Dronavalli. Thomas Pitts, who caused one of the major or the main upset of round one when he beat Wang Hao from China. And he's playing against Harika Dronavalli, who held Wesley So to a draw in round two, and she was also the best women player in the tournament here last year. So let's have a look what's happening there.
Yeah, so we picked the game up, very quickly. It was a French defence, and the line that Harika played is a line which I played a lot myself, and it's a very interesting line. This knight to f3 move is now the trendy way to play for white. It's the so-called, I think they call it the universal system, and a lot of top players play it. Mickey Adams plays it, so does Grishchuk. He played against me in lots of blitz games actually once, Grishchuk. Okay. And it's a very tricky line for black to face. Now knight to c6 castles, and the move that Harika played here is for a long time been the main move, surprisingly enough, and I remember even writing about it in a French book I did something like 6 years ago, so it's not a new move, and it looks like quite a risky move, but it makes a lot of sense, because in the French defence you're always trying to attack this d4 pawn as black. That is one of the major weaknesses, especially when white goes e5. So how do you attack this pawn here? Well, one of the old main lines used to be queen b6, but in this position white has a number of dangerous sacrifices. You give this pawn up. I think the main line is rook e1, and black can take this pawn, you can win this pawn, and it's a bit like the Milner Barry gambit. I can't get it right, I should know it, yeah. And win knight to f3, and white gets fantastic compensation here. So it was then found that g5 is actually a very interesting dynamic move, and it's not just to go crazy on the king's side, it's to divert the knight on f3 away, so you loosen the d4 square. So it's quite positionally founded. I've had sort of, I used to love this idea, but then I used to hate this, and then I kind of hate this idea, because where do you put your king? Even if you win a pawn, it's a bit like, where do I put the king? I mean, I might win a pawn in the centre, but it's really hard to castle now. The next move is one of the main moves. There's a number of moves here, but this has always been the most testing moves, opening up the position, because black has nowhere to put the king. And a lot of options for black here. g4 is probably the best theoretical option. The knight comes into the centre, and again black has options. I actually had this position against David Howe with black, and I took here with this knight once, trying to get time to take the other pawn. Very confusing position, because it's very complicated. There's pieces everywhere, and there's a lot of pawns on pre. Harika has gone for the knight on d takes, which probably seems more natural because your bishop has a square here. And now bishop to b5, and this is again I think the main option here. Now bishop takes c5, I think there may be a problem with this one, and I think the problem could be something with f4. For example, I think I've lost a horrible game like this as well. At some point you win a pawn, but white suddenly goes f4. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to take on pass on that, because that c6 square is now being attacked by two white pieces, so you probably have to take on pass on, but then you open up the f-file towards the king, and white's pieces start flowing into the game. And even though white's a pawn down, it's a very, very dangerous position to play with the black king here. Where does the black king go? So I think that's a problem. So bishop d7, and now I always thought some plan with b4 was correct here, just to go b4, and I think taking on c6 even and going b4 is a very good option here. But instead knight to b3 was played, and now h5, guarding the pawn on g4, potentially opening up the white king later. I'm not sure about this knight b3 move. Rook e1, pressurizing the center, still very unclear. The knight goes back to g6. This is often a good safe maneuver, because now your e-pawn can try to move forwards, and even though your king's in the center, you can still use your pawns, and black does have this pawn majority. Knight takes c6, Okay, so that allows another black pawn to come towards the centre. White's idea is bishop d3, and if you can get rid of that knight, that will destroy black's pawn structure. So now I think a very clever move from black here, and that is f5. And you can see these pawns. I mean, if you get a couple more moves, look at that pawn. If those pawns come forwards anymore, it's risky. So is the black king weak, or is it actually quite safe here? Is it weak or is it quite safe? And are these pawns going to move? Let's have a look. Knight d4. Are these pawns weak or strong? That's the other question. Are they going to be attacked? And white is attacking them. King f7 now played. This is black's idea to try to castle kind of artificially. And we can see that the e-pawn can't move because f5 will be lost with the two pieces attacking f5. And now Tomas has just played b4, making sure he guards this one. And now bishop f6. And it seems to me that Erika is slowly getting safe here. And as soon as this king gets safe, maybe rook e8's come, the pawns could well start moving forwards. I mean, I might even try something like queen c8 to guard f5 and e5. Something like this idea here. I really, you know, if I can get e5 in at the right moment, it's pretty much game over. But at the moment, white is holding back that advance. So I still quite like black's position, I think, here, because you can also maybe transfer now to, you could even play something over here, h5 and h3 could create a weakness. So I think I quite like black here. I don't know. What would you say here, just about the current?
Yeah, it's very hard to judge. I don't play the French, and it's a weird position. But I think you're right. If the king is safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Shall we move on? I have a little trivia question.
Okay.
For you first. How many Olympic gold medal winners do we have here in the Isle of Man in the tournament playing?
How many Olympic gold medal winners?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, let's work this out. So, sorry? For the US. For the US of A. So how many?
Do we have others?
I don't know.
Don't we have one in the? You got a bronze medal in Tel Aviv. Oh, right. Okay. So very close then. So yeah.
Okay. So who is the fourth for the US? But I think four in general, because I don't think we have any other.
Maybe in the women's section. How did India?
Ho Yifan.
Yeah. Ho Yifan maybe, but
this year.
Yeah, because of course for America you have and of course the fourth Olympic gold medal winner. Did you say as well? Not silver or bronze. There's another gold medal winner. Is it someone who was in the rowing Olympics or something playing? Is it some trick question, or someone in America who's got?
We're talking about the chess Olympiad in '76.
Okay, wow. So does anyone know this? Does anyone know the answer? I really, it's quite a hard question to answer.
Yep, no answers in the chat. So we will tell you it's James Tarjan. And unfortunately, he lost his game today against Babu Lalit. And let's quickly have a look at what happened there. I think it's the first game to end in a decisive result today.
And where did he win his gold medal then, Fiona? Did you say 90?
76, but I'm not sure where that Olympiad was. Haifa. Okay.
Haifa. And apparently he scored 4 out of 7 on board 4. And this was the other players there. What I find the game, Fiona, were?
Other GMs in that Olympiad were Grandmaster Byrne. Is that her? Byrne?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Kavalek, Evans, Larry, and William Lombardi.
So that's and Lombardi was famously, he's a Catholic priest now, isn't he? Because he was famously Lombardi, good friends with Bobby Fischer. Okay. And then I think he was a Catholic priest at that time even. I'm not sure if he became or was, but he helped Bobby Fischer a lot to become the player he was. So I'm just trying to find this game now, and we've got so many games here, it's quite hard. I'm sure I'm going to go blind by the end of this, right at the bottom by the end of this tournament. So where should we jump to? Should we sort of pick it up from?
And there we have a photo of James Tarjan. I think he's also played in the first 2 editions of the tournament.
He did. So he's played every single year here. Yeah. So yeah, impressive stuff, and he obviously likes it here. Third visit here, and he's still playing very well, isn't he? So he's very impressive. You know, you can keep the standard up. So I think we just jump to the position, shall we, after white now plays this rather bizarre move. I mean, I really like this next move. This is a fantastic move. Absolutely brilliant move. In this position, on move, just before move 26, it seems that black is doing absolutely fine here. It's equal, okay, white is a pawn up, so that's one thing. But white has a number of weaknesses. The split pawns over here, a3 a major weakness, and e4 is even slightly, slightly in trouble here. So white now plays what looks like a brilliant move to me, because you've got ideas of queen d7 here. This is one idea, to try to fork two pieces. It looks quite logical, but black can easily stop this with rook d8. So that doesn't work. So now white plays a4, and that could be taken by 3 different black pieces. I mean, in hindsight, it probably was lost that pawn anyway. But a really nice idea, because now if the queen takes a4, you can now go queen d7 because you don't have rook d8 anymore. And I think this is the idea. If pawn takes a4, well, you've done some damage to those pawns now, and you can probably just come in with a rook to the 7th rank, which is nearly always a good idea. Could even be something stronger, but that looks like a good start. And again, we have queen d7 as a major threat there. Black decided to go rook takes, but this allows c4. And that's the third point behind this idea, attacking the queen. b4, queen d7, rook d8, queen c6. And now black makes an escape square for his king, bishop e3. And if that pawn moves forwards, it's going to be serious problems. Bishop c7, well, it moves forwards. So I think as soon as that pawn...
Those pawns are looking very dangerous.
They're looking very dangerous, and that is, very bad now with the d pawn coming. It's pretty much game over, isn't it, now? So rook a3, bishop d2, b4 is a problem. And let's just see how the game ended. Bishop b8, rook a1, rook a3, and now we had just this queen d6
the pawns are just unstoppable.
Yeah, and these
it's very unusual to see a resignation when the material is equal, but the pawns are just too strong.
Far too strong, yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Go to a player which we looked at a lot yesterday, and that's Benjamin Bok. He lost to Vidit, one of the 2 leaders, but he's another very promising young player from the Netherlands, and he's playing against the Chinese player Liu Yiping, who is here with Wang Hao, I believe.
Yes, he's probably got a very hard job, I'd imagine, because
to cheer him up.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, Wang Hao not having the best of times so far.
No.
Shall we just have a look at the current position?
Let's do that. It's always hard when you go to a tournament with someone like a good friend.
And then they do horribly.
And they do horribly, and they're in an awful mood for the whole time, and you've got to be the shoulder to cry on for the whole time, because chess is really very tough.
Chess can be very cruel at times.
It can be. So yeah, I normally need shoulders to cry on though. That's so the other way around for me. And the current position here, not too exciting. Equal material. I expect white has some edge because his bishop is not blocked. The black bishop is striking against the knight on d4, and the knight on d4 is quite a strong piece there, isn't it? I mean, let's say queen b3. Maybe I can even go for an ending here. And for example, if the queens come off the board here, then you've got problems with both your pawns here. So a slight advantage. Knight on d7 is bad as well. I think that's the other thing. If you just look at the pieces here, white's pieces are good. Black does have the open file, I'll give him that, but there's not so much to attack on that open file. So probably something like queen b3, slight edge for white there, I'd say. So,
I'd say so too.
Yeah.
So let's go to another young Dutch hopeful. He's not just a hopeful, he's also the reigning Dutch champion, and that's Jordan van Foreest.
We will go from where we were before in this one, because we looked at the opening. And we got to this stage here where we're talking about the isolated pawn. Now, Van Foreest, he played Hikaru yesterday, and he defended an isolated pawn position. He's such a talent. I mean, he's only 18. Yep. People are calling him the next Jan Timman. which I think is really quite a good analogy, because Timon, of course, incredibly strong player, and Van Foreest, who's great. I keep getting this wrong, but I think it's his great grandfather.
I don't know.
But he was Dutch champion, and he's only 18, Dutch champion already as well. Time situation is White will come to the current position soon, 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's quite a big...
quite a big jump there.
Yeah, so 40-minute time advantage on the clock.
So the position, let's get to the current. Rook C1, sorry, I just jumped forwards there, but we'll have to go through the moves quite quickly now. Bishop G4, Queen B3, and now B6, Rook E1. So White just putting his rooks ready on the open lines there. And now there's a tactical point. You can't take the pawn on D4 because you'll lose your knight on E7. Just to let you know, it's the great-grandfather of Van Foreest was Dutch champion. Arnold Angelingus, yeah.
3 times Dutch champion. And his brother was a Dutch champion too, so...
Wow.
Chess really does run in the family there.
It's amazing, isn't it? A family who's had generation and generation of Dutch champions. It really is. And
we talking of brothers, we have to mention Jordan's brother Lucas beat Wang Hao yesterday. So both of them doing very, very well here.
Yeah. At least they got someone to play against as well. Okay, knight A5, and I'll quickly get to the position, I think, because they do a little bit of manoeuvring about. And it looks like, just with simple moves, White's kind of taking some control here.
Yeah, I thought he had to go for D5, but this also
looks good.
Quite good.
Rook here, bishops are now looking very good as well, the 2 bishops. Bishop E6, and now he does go for D5, so we have now exchanges occur in the centre. And, well, a number of pieces are coming off, so White's aiming to simplify, just to simply get his rook to the 7th rank. Rook takes C7, and his rook is just hitting that pawn on A7.
And is he just losing a pawn now? Because we see his next move is rook FD8. Was there anything he could do about?
I mean, could he go A6 here, keep that pawn? He could try this one, keep the pawn, but then there's a mate. Oh my words! Oh, Fiona, test your tactics. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Come on, Fiona, show us the glory.
This mate into knight. Queen takes F8.
Yeah, Queen takes F8, check. Wow. King takes.
Rook C8.
Yeah, it's actually mating 3, isn't it? But okay, I've got it. Yeah, that's a nasty.
That was a well-hidden threat.
It was something I could fall into on a bad day. Yeah, very nasty little threat. So he's got to move the rook or do something. And now there goes the pawn. So H5 played to give the king an escape square, and the queen comes to a more centralized square.
And I think White is doing very well now.
I think it's just a pawn. It's just a pawn, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's a pawn, and at the moment, this knight, and probably later on, is going to be very bad because it can't stabilize itself anywhere. There's no pawns to guard it. Even if it comes in towards the centre, I kick it away. It can never find a square in the centre. White's bishop seems to be a bit better than that knight. It's simply a pawn. So we're going to see now what the young Jordan's technique is like, because he's having a great tournament.
I mean, if he wins today, he'll be on 3.5 out of 4. What a result that would be, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wait. We will go back to the board to one of the games of the day, but first we're going to show you a little tweet.
Yeah. There we go.
So that tweet was it's a photo that was taken just during our last break, and it's a tweet by Leonard Otis, who was one of our 2 producers here, along with Peter Doggers. He's saying, sad to leave IOM chess halfway the tournament, really enjoyed my time with us 3. And he's en route to Dublin as we speak, where he will spend the night, and on to Atlantic City for Millionaire Chess tomorrow.
Wow, it's a busy life.
It was sad to see Leonard leave, but Leonard is great. He's doing a great job. If you haven't seen any of his photos yet, make sure to check those out. He's been on the cover of New in Chess, well, not him, but his photos a few times now.
Definitely.
So sad to see Leonard leave too, but we shall meet him again soon.
We will do indeed. And also he's going over to Millionaire Chess. It's a jet setter's life he leads behind the scenes. I mean,
I think Leonard might be one of the only people like one of the few people I know who travels more than me.
More than you, yeah. I mean, you were everywhere as well, literally.
I do travel quite a bit, but nothing compared to Leonard.
Leonard literally has been everywhere in the world, I think.
Leonard literally lives out of a suitcase.
I know, it's crazy, you know, so yeah. But you can tell we all have a lot of fun here as well, and we're all good friends, you know, so which makes it that much easier, doesn't it, to do the job. We don't actually, as soon as the cameras turn off, start shouting at each other like, why did you say that? Give me the mouse.
Why did you pronounce that wrong?
Well, actually, you do that occasionally, but like, only occasionally. No, but we luckily get on very well here, which makes it a lot easier. I do actually remember doing commentary, you know, once upon a time. With someone, and we'd always have mouse battles. So
I think I was watching that.
You're watching it, so you can tell. And I don't think it was clear, you know, who wanted the mouse. And when the camera was on the boards, we were like, "Give me the mouse," and then he's like, "Give me the mouse." So, and as soon as the camera came back, we're trying to hide it and like this. And we're both trying to get the mouse off each other to show some of the moves. So we'd have mouse battles every day.
You won the mouse battle here.
Yeah, I've got the mouse.
I'm on the chat. I'm on the social media front. So
you can have the mouse if you want.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I've won.
So let's go back to Fabiano Caruana against Salem.
Yeah, this very interesting game. Very, And this is the board 2 battle, and probably, you know, just because of the opening. And I have to say, I'm so surprised that Fabiano played this opening, because one thing you're not supposed to do is play into the hands of your opponents. If you know your opponent loves tactical positions, he loves sacrificing, why give him the option of doing that? You know, openings nowadays are so well developed that you can basically pick an opening, you can pick an opening defense and get in the kind of position you want most of the time. You know, or at least not enter into crazy positions. You don't have to enter into crazy tactical positions all the time. So we looked at this last time with knight to e1 being played from white. This seemed like an extremely clever move, because I was only paying attention to the king side and trying to blast away over there. But there's another problem with black's position. That's the queen on b4. The queen on b4 is in some danger because it can't run home again. And we thought that queen takes b2 was a move, but one of the reasons, and there's a lot of pressure on the top players here, a problem that the top players have is that they are kind of feel like they're forced to win games when they're playing, you know, because he's 170 points higher rated. Fabiano here probably saw that immediately white can get a draw if he wants to. He doesn't have to, by the way, with rook a1, rook b2, and he thought, well, I don't want to do this, so I want to win this tournament, I can't take the pawn. So he went for knight to a4 now, and I have to say it's a move we didn't concentrate on, trying to create some counterplay here. And now white has played bishop to f3, and this is trying, I think now it is basically white's playing on both sides of the board. And with this move, he's got some strong threats of going bishop takes d5, and then the queen eventually. Imagine if that queen gets that square.
And
it'd
the
be
black
devastating.
queen is so out of play.
Yeah, I was even thinking Fiona in this position of the crazy move bishop d3. You know, just that's how strong I thought the queen getting to f3 might be. You know, this kind of thing just looks so strong. It's probably not good enough, but obviously bishop f3 just makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it's complicated. Could black have taken on
Let's just go to the current position, because also if, looking at the clock times, Fabiano is now under 10 minutes, and he still has to play almost 20 moves, 19 moves. So I think things might be very critical for him. Maybe not just on the clock, but also on the board.
Okay, so so queen b3. He does do this move we talked about, isn't he? Trying to get the queens off because he's obviously scared about what may happen. Now the queens do come off, but now some very useful exchanges for white. He takes on d5. That was a strong piece there. He eliminates that piece. Black has to put a pawn there. Black's pawn's looking horrid, and now white wins back his pawn. He was pawned down and
hitting the pawn on b5.
You know what, Fiona? I think this looks lost for black.
Yeah.
I think it looks absolutely disgusting.
Okay, so
absolutely lost.
if I try and play a6, I have to do something. I guess I would against it.
So a6. I mean, the problems here is this knight. It's such a strong piece still. It stops a rook coming to c8. So you've got complete domination of the c file. The other knight can hop in probably, and very importantly, I can just go rook c1 here because you can't contest me on the open file. And you know,
look at Sargisyan, he's looking quite shocked. Did you see the look he just gave?
I missed that one actually. So yeah. Did he say, what are you playing at?
Yeah.
What are you playing at? So
yeah, I think we're
major upset here.
Major upset on the cards here.
Yeah, so I mean, this, okay, maybe you can pull a miracle out the hat here, but I mean, instead of a6, is there anything else he can do? Maybe he has to try and get a knight to c4. Maybe he has to do this and give up a pawn somehow. But I think really this position is lost. It's lost for Fabiano. Did he lose any games at the Olympiad? I don't think he did he? I'm trying to think the last time he lost the game.
Yeah.
I can't recall when Fabiano lost the game, but he's looking like he's going down.
Good, yeah.
I mean, really awful position for him.
Okay, we will come back to this, but let's move on to board 3, game between Julio Granda and Wesley So, which was also looking very interesting.
Very interesting.
Just the one above
there. The Americans are struggling a bit
Yep.
today because Hikaru's already drawn, so he's not up in the running at the moment. Wesley could be going down. Not Wesley, sorry, I mean Fabiano. And now Wesley is the last hope to win a game. And that's not Wesley. Where are you, Wesley? He's moved now.
Because you keep scrolling, you're driving me crazy.
Scrolling, I've got to find the names though.
Just the one bit, yeah.
Okay, so what's happening
So
now?
where did we leave it off? So Rooksies, we saw this.
Okay.
And Peter is just telling us that Fabiano's last loss was in Dortmund on July 9th against MVL. I think this was this night of, yeah. I was actually commentating on that game. So it's been a while. It's been 3 months almost since Fabiano last lost a game.
And we only have 2 more moves there, and time situation. Well, they're both a little bit short, but not too short. And bishop e4, rook takes a2 is being played. And I have to say, I think Wesley's this g5, g4 idea, as soon as he got the queens off, it was becoming more clear that he was getting the upper hand here. And I would have thought here this a pawn is he's just got a simple plan, unless white can somehow generate attack. But it's very difficult. The dark square bishop also controls the black king very well here. So rook takes a2, and yeah, it's just a simple plan of queening this pawn. I mean, just putting it all the way down to a1. That Ari the a pawn, or should we call him Arnold the a pawn, and is very strong. And white needs to somehow generate an attack. If white has to start going passive here, the other problem with this a1 square is that the bishop, the dark square bishop, which doesn't have anything that can fight against it, because white doesn't have a dark square bishop, will always come to a square somewhere which will cover that square later on. And white needs to generate some kind of attack here. I'm just thinking, can he get his pieces into the king somehow? Because I don't see how he can. The knight can't come in with a check because the squares are covered. You can't get a knight to f6. Where you'd like to get a knight. I don't know how white gets his pieces in here. Is there any active plan you can see, Fiona?
No, I'm not sure. I think Julio will have to come up with something crafty here. I liked his position a while back, but now that a-pawn is looking very dangerous, and it's just three squares away from queening, so... But we shall see. And we will now go on a very quick break. We will be back with this game and many others. When we are back, the time trouble phase will be at its
peak.
Yeah. So don't miss that. If you have any questions or comments, do tweet at us as usual up here. #IOMChess, and we shall be back very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Chess.com is about playing. At any moment, there are thousands of people from around the world playing on Chess.com. So whether you're a total beginner or a grandmaster, you'll find a game quickly with someone at your level. You can play at any pace, from 1-minute bullet to 5-minute blitz to 60-minute games. Or you can play more relaxed games where you have several days to make your move. There are tournaments starting every few minutes, or you can play against our customizable coaching computer. Chess.com is for learning. Chess isn't just about playing, it's about getting better. Chess.com puts the best training tools at your fingertips. Sharpen your game with over 50,000 tactics puzzles. Improve your strategy with training videos by top grandmasters. Get instant feedback after your games with real-time computer analysis. Regardless of where you're at now, you can take your game to the next level. Chess.com is for sharing. Join the community where you can discuss chess ideas in the forums and follow the latest chess news. Or join a club with friends and play in a league against other clubs. You can find all this in your browser at home and at work, or on the go with your phone or tablet. Signing up is free and easy. So what are you waiting for? Enjoy your game.
What were the best moves and biggest blunders from Baku? Hikaru Nakamura tells us what it feels like to be a gold medal winner, and the biggest news of the year, it's Nakamura versus Carlsen on October 27th. Live from the 2016 Chess.com meetup.
This is Chess Center!
And we're here with Olympic gold medalist Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura, fresh back from his trip in Baku. And as I understand it, in your last round you were deathly sick. Captain John Donaldson was going to drag you out of bed. Is that as sick as you've played a chess game before?
No, I wouldn't say that's the sickest I've been. Strangely, it seems that the past few Olympiads I always seem to get pretty sick at the end, and fortunately it's ruined a couple of the events. I've lost a game towards the end, but nevertheless, I mean, had I rested in the final round, I think it would have put a lot more pressure on our bottom boards. And the strength for the U.S. team really was having a third Grandmaster who was about 2,800, and whether that was me, whether it's Wesley or Fabiano, I think that's fairly irrelevant. But basically, you have to be pushing the strength down as far down as you can on the board. So I think it was important that I played the last round.
You got through it with a draw, and now earlier in the tournament, in round 7 against Serbia, you had this knight takes g6 move against Grandmaster Marcus. Was that your move of the tournament, or am I overlooking something?
For my tournament, yeah, I think that was the best move that I played. So it was a very nice way to finish off the game, win a quick game in the 5th round, and then just relax.
Years ago, you told me you wanted to win a gold medal with Gadakomsky on the team. Bittersweet at all that you got your gold, but without him?
I wouldn't say it was bittersweet. Certainly it was nice. I think for me, probably the one thing that's strange is that it was the first time I played Olympiad. And so really, in a way, I feel like I'm the last pair left. I guess my journey in the Olympiad started in 2006, and so it was Gada, Alex. I think Var played that time, I'm not sure. But also John was captain, so kind of it's like John and I are the last kind of remnants from the past generation or from past Olympiads. So it was quite nice at least to win a gold medal, and at least someone was around from when I first played in 2006.
There you have it. He has 2 bronzes, now a gold in his resume. He's now the senior statesman on the team, Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura.
Robert, for our move of the week, we're going to take a look back to the Olympiad, where so many great games were played in Baku, but perhaps no one playing more consistent chess than the Georgian #1. And now, I'm not a religious man, but I do study the book of Jobava. Show everybody how Bador giveth the bishop, but taketh away the protection of black's kingside against Ruslan Ponomarev.
Yeah, Danny, here Ponomarev must have thought his position was safe, but not so fast. Bishop to h6, blasting open the black kingside. After pawn takes h6, queen went over and took on h6, and here Ponomarev tried to get some initiatives with rook takes c3, but after queen g5 check, king f8, queen takes f6, the attack continued. Black tried rook takes d3 and actually resigned after pawn takes d3. The reason being that a protective move like rook to e8 does not work out. The simple rook to e1 actually does the trick, throwing rook takes e6. And if black goes rook takes e7, now queen h8 delivers checkmate.
Lots of tactics there, but don't be frustrated to home fans. The point is, a beautiful attack is finished off nicely, and Jobava takes our move of the week.
Hey, Rafa. Have you seen my medal?
What are you talking about?
Peter Dockers was on site in Baku covering the Olympiad. He's here now to give us the big stories on how things wrapped up.
Absolutely, Danny. Well, for the very first time in 40 years, it was the USA who won the gold medal in Baku. They edged out Ukraine on tiebreak, with both finishing on 20 match points. Never seen before, actually, at an Olympiad. And it was a top seeds Russia. Again, not winning gold, not silver. They ended up winning bronze.
But it was an exciting finish, including the tiebreak controversy. Now, let's move on to things and how things broke down in the women's division.
Yeah, also there Russia had a disappointing result. They didn't even win any medal there. In the last round they played against China, who are already 2 points ahead. And China won that thrilling final clash to win the gold medals. And well, Poland was the team in the women's that got silver and bronze.
Hey, you guys, have you seen my gold medal?
No.
All right.
No. And speaking of Hikaru Nakamura, ladies and gentlemen, this week the big announcement that he will be playing Magnus Carlsen in the finals of the Grandmaster Blitz Battle Championship. Tell everybody when that will be.
Well, 27 October, so mark your calendars. It will be 10 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central European Time on 27 October. It's going to be on chess.com/TV and Twitch. And I am definitely one of many chess fans going to watch that.
The world will be watching. We'll be there trying to keep up with those two speed demons in what is arguably the biggest chess event for 2016. As awkward as it sounds, Robert, everyone loves a good self-mate. Show the people how Blagojevich blundered his way onto Chess Center this week.
Well, Blagojevich clearly does not watch Game of Thrones, because if he did, he would have learned from Stannis Baratheon. He should have retreated his king, which would have led to equality. Instead, he marched his king forward to h6 and actually resigned after the move queen h1 check, because of a forced checkmate at 4, and now queen f5 is made on the board.
Gotta love the smell of blunders in the morning.
Hey, Robert, have you seen my medal view since my interview with Mike?
Hey, Karu. I think I saw Danny with it at the beach.
That's weird.
Welcome back to our coverage of round 4 of the Isle of Man International Chess Tournament, sponsored by chess.com and the Scheinberg family. So before we delve back into the games, and it's now getting to a very interesting stage, players are getting shorter and shorter on time. We'll just, for those of you who joined the show late, we'll show you the pairings so that you can see what's going on. So as you can see, there are only 2 players left with a perfect score. Those are Alexei Shirov and Vidit Santosh. We will go back to that game in a second. And then there is a big group of players on 2.5, and we only have one result. It wasn't the most exciting of games between Niels Gandelius and Hikaru Nakamura.
No, it wasn't the most exciting. I mean, obviously at top level, even in opens, these things happen occasionally. But compared to all play-alls, I still personally find open tournaments much more interesting because, as you can see from some of the other games going on, Fabiano's springs to mind, you get some brilliantly exciting, interesting attacking games and lots of decisive results.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm getting all carried away because Fabiano was already short on time when we went on a break. So I suggest we quickly have a look what's going on the top board, and then we go to Fabiano next.
Sounds great, yeah. So these are the only 2 players who are on maximum points, and well, I mean, you've got fire on the board, Shirov himself, and of course this guy Vidit is someone you'll hear a lot more of. Incredibly strong player from India, and let's see how the game has developed. So it looked around this stage here where we last took a peek at the game that, well, Shirov I thought may have some chances to push a little bit because of the weak c5 pawn, but then maybe it's compensated by the knight on d4. You can see there we've got the other board up in the corner from Zulio's game still, and you can see there that it looks like Wesley So probably be the only American winner there. So king to f1, king f7, and now, okay, he does go for rook to c1 in this position, and well, that's very kind of you, John. Thank you. Cheers. I will give you that £10 later. And now rook d8, bishop a5, and you know there's still some pressure against Black's position here. Is it enough to win? We'll soon see. Rook c8, and now Shirov takes concrete action. I mean, you could play this quite slowly with something like b3 and just try to slowly gang up against c5, but he's gone for b4 immediately, just trying to win a pawn. Why not? Bishop e7, going on defensive. Now knight d5, trying to eliminate defender of that pawn there, the bishop on e7, and also some tricks maybe coming into b6 in certain positions. So Black's been forced backwards. Knight e6. Shirov now eliminates a bishop here and plays very simply with rook c4, and I expect he's just trying to gang up more firepower on that pawn. And after rook c4 we have rook d7 and now rook c1. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for Black, I think.
How do you deal with that? Can you play rook d5?
Rook d5, I'm going to put another one
and
against
king
it.
d6?
Whoa, every black piece is defending that pawn, so we might just need to update the current board there in that game, just so we see the current position, but we're just analysing it here on the main board. And okay, well, instead of playing something like this, which looks possible,
he went for a more active approach, which is probably a lot better than what we were just looking at.
I think so, and he's gone for rook to d2, and that makes a lot of sense. Keep active. Active defense is often the best defense. You know, just try to, you know, don't go passive if you can go active. This is a basic rule. When I was teaching, I used to try to teach everyone, you know, because chess is an active game. Try to play actively, and the move like this might hold the balance. In actual fact, I mean, you could go rook c2 here, but I'm not sure if you're going to win this pawn or not here. I mean, okay, if you take on c5 immediately, Black will probably capture this pawn here, attacking the bishop as well. And it looks this doesn't look too promising for white, this particular position, because the knight seems to be well positioned and the bishop isn't doing a great job here. So I would have thought after rook d2, Alexei will try to keep the tension and do rook c2, something like this, or a4. Okay, he's gone a4. That makes a lot of sense as well. With the move a4, he moves that pawn out of harm's way and he keeps the pressure up against c5. So might as well just see what black's going to play, because he's already getting ready for his next move. And now he's gone rook d4 and trying to get into some exchanges here.
I have to say, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I'm very impressed how smartly dressed Chirov has been. He's been sporting a suit and tie, well, shirt and tie, every single day here.
He has, yeah, and we did mention this the other day. I mean, some people like, getting dressed up for their games. I think it helps their play, and because they feel like, more like they're going to business, I guess, and he has been very well dressed. You're right, though. Okay,
so let's leave these guys for now, and let's go back to board 2, where top seed Fabiano Caruana seems to be struggling quite seriously against Salem Saleh.
I think he certainly was. I mean, have things got better for him? Let's see. Because even though Fabiano managed to get the queens off, just look at the powerhouse of this, the power of this knight. That knight is such an impressive piece there. Controls c8, and that is a very important square because it means white might be able to get control of the c file. It's really dominating the board, and it's always guarded by a pawn here. So it looks very promising at the moment. a5 played from Fabiano, and again, going for active defense, as we say, the best way to do it, because you could have tried to hold on to the b5 pawn, but why do that? Why go passive when your opponent has this knight? So he's just given that pawn up, and Salem has taken that pawn, so he goes a pawn up, but Fabiano can now get rid of that knight. He does it by going rook b8, and there's nasty little threats here. Rook takes a4, and the idea now is if bishop takes b5 check, which is quite a logical idea, well, you can actually just go king to g1 here because of the pin on the bishop. So he has to go rook takes b5, and now we have a couple more moves, so this is clarifying quite quickly here. Rook takes b5, now just rook to a3, rook takes b2, and of course now we win a pawn with rook takes a5. So it's an extra pawn in this position.
I think we earlier, I wonder if Salem possibly missed a stronger continuation, because while we were on break, I saw that our friend Danny Gormelli was tweeting something about rook f3. I'm not sure in which position. If we just rewind a few moves, no, it was after the queen swap. Could it?
Maybe here.
Or maybe after a5, taking the pawns. Could it have been here? Something involving rook f3, and I had a cheeky glance at the computer, which also seemed to like rook f. Okay, so let me very quickly rewind. We don't usually use an engine, but
boo.
Yeah, it was here after a5.
Okay, rook f3 was apparently a very strong move. Okay, well, let's just have a quick look at that, because it looks natural to take on b5, but also sometimes cashing in your chips too early can make things a lot more difficult. And we're going to go to the current position soon and try to work out what the winning chances are like for white. But I do agree. I mean, like, you've got this fantastic piece. Is it worth winning a pawn but allowing the exchange of that piece, or do you keep the pressure on? And rook f3 may well be a better move, just to keep the pressure on. Don't rush into trying to grab a pawn here. Threatening to take on f7. And it's quite difficult for black to defend that pawn, because if he defends it with a bishop, you could take on b5, but you keep your pawn.
But also the other knight can come in maybe.
As well, yeah.
Knight d3, the knight is heading either to f4, c5.
This kind of way, very strong, yeah. And you got b3 and knight c5 as well. This could have been really, I mean, this could have been just winning, actually, a lot clearer. So maybe that's a little lesson. We'll see how the game goes, but don't always
I mean, he's still a pawn up and still doing very well. He's also still more than 15 minutes up on the clock. So king g7 was just played.
Yeah. It seems like black has got a little bit of activity though, because he's managed to get his rook to the 7th rank, and now the bishop has some potential, I think, if it manages to sneak its way around somehow. White's knight, is it a good piece? I don't know. I mean, it could float into somewhere like here or here, so it's still much better for white. Is it enough to win against Fabiano? I'm not sure. I mean, if it's Carlsen, then I would say yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just awaiting now, and time situation, Fabiano also short of time, so that's another thing that will make the defence a bit tricky for him. But good winning chances, and this will be...
Good winning chances, but I think if he doesn't convert, if he happens not to convert, this could be a good example of how against these guys, in critical moments, you need to find the best. Sometimes if there's something better than grabbing a pawn. Yeah.
Certainly, yeah. Just keep the pressure on. Don't take the first pawn. You can win. Keep the pressure on. Right. Well, let's move away from that one. And one game I'd like to have a look at, because we haven't looked at it for a long time, is Michael Adams versus Ho Yifang. And Michael Adams is the leading English player, and he's my tip to win the tournament. We won't go through the moves. We saw it was a manoeuvring game earlier on, so we don't need to catch up on all the moves. Let's just go to current position. Time trouble is coming up in games, so we're going to try to move a bit quicker from game to game now, keep up with the action. Yep. And we can see here, Mickey with white is doing his normal spider-like manoeuvring. And there are a couple of weak pawns that black has, the 2 pawns I've just highlighted there. But white also has a weak pawn on c3, so it seems at the moment that Ho Yifang is holding her own in this position, and it seems to be fairly even actually at the moment, and she's doing a good job of defending against Mickey's manoeuvres, and she did actually get a bishop round to this square, which we saw as a typical idea in this type of structure. So I actually think she's probably doing fine here, because they both have one really weak pawn, and that is d6 of black, c2. It's very balanced, so an equal game there. Where would you like to go, Fiona?
Let's just quickly go back to Wesley So, see how he's doing, because we were thinking his a pawn was looking very dangerous. So that's board 3 against Julio Granda. Just like number 6, yeah.
Okay. Yes, and that a pawn was looking so strong, and indeed white has had to go on defensive now, so he's had to bring the knight back to try to hold that pawn. Bishop d6, forcing the rook away. The rook has now gone to c3, and Wesley attacking that piece again with knight to a4, and now rook to c4, and not much has changed here, except it's still very good for Wesley, I think, here. The a pawn is going to be too strong, I would imagine. I mean, it's got to be. You've even got bishop e6 coming in at the right time.
And imagine if the b pawn starts rolling up the board as well.
Yeah,
I think Wesley is looking very good. And yeah, he just played bishop e6.
Yeah. So bishop to e6.
And knight takes, so he's giving up the exchange.
Okay.
So knight takes a3.
Knight takes a3, probably a good practical decision. Knight takes a3, what in this position? Doesn't that give up more than the exchange? Looks like it gives up a piece to me.
Oh.
Because he's just taken a pawn with a knight, and it can be... What, is that really played? Knight takes a3? Maybe this is just like, look, I'm losing, I'm just going to try something, because... I mean, that piece can be taken by 2. I mean,
yeah,
it can be
giving up an exchange. I was even looking, but yeah.
I mean, I could. Yeah, I mean, even taking the exchange is, possibility.
Yeah, but if we can take a piece.
Yeah. This is great. So yeah, I mean, just something like rook takes a3. I mean, he might have had to give up that knight for that pawn at some point. But
okay, and he's just hoping to take on b7.
I'm not even sure how he does that, because I just take the rook on c4.
Yeah, maybe you can take with the bishop.
Take with the bishop. I guess I can just go bishop takes d3.
And bishop takes a8.
And then just bishop takes here. I'm just a piece up.
Yeah.
I stop any tricks with knight f5. That's quite key.
Yeah.
you know, but well, even that's not that key because my bishop stops that. I mean, that just, what is that move? Rook knight takes a3. I think it's going to resign.
Yeah, rook takes.
Rook, this has been a bad day, isn't it, today? And Wesley played a great idea with g5, g4, and for a very nice play. And Wesley was really I would say, there's a lot of heroes in the American team at the Olympiad, but Wesley So was probably the main hero. I think he got the biggest score out of the Americans, and he was the main driving force behind the gold medal, and it looks like he's going to win this game.
Yeah. So where do you want to go next?
Where do I want to go?
Shall we check in with Lizzie?
Yeah, it's a nice restaurant down the road. No, Lizzie, okay.
So Lizzie Pitts, who...
Yeah.
It was this Sveshnikov opening, and we now have what looks like a rather drawish opposite colored bishop and rook ending.
Yeah, this looks rather drawish, but I think black is quite better here. I would say black is quite a lot better in this position, because I don't know. I mean, again, it's bishops on the other side of pawns, and we've talked about this before. This bishop here, its opposite card bishops, is trapped. It's trapped behind these guys, and it's kind of just a defensive piece that gets in the way. On the other hand, this bishop here is on the other side of the pawns, and it has a lot more range. It has a target to attack. There are a lot of holes like c5, and can this king even come in via c5 to d4? I mean, there's no rush in these positions. The bishop on e5, fantastic piece for another reason, and that reason is that it literally stops white getting active with his rook ever. So I would say this is a...
Maybe I'm always too quick to judge these sort of positions. I still tend to say it's a draw, but black can try something.
This is the kind of position our fellow teammate Keith Arkell would have been ecstatics about, wouldn't he? I mean, I think give Keith Arkell, who loves these kind of positions, this position, and you wouldn't want to be there for the rest of your life, would you? I mean, so I think actually Ilyanov will probably win this one. Do you want to have a bet?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, £1. So I bet on Ilyanov.
I'm 3 up, don't forget.
I know, you're 3 up. You're 3 up.
Yep.
You're £3
so
up,
we have
free bets.
Our first bet of our second bet of the day.
I've already lost the first one.
I won our first one within 10 minutes or something.
It was unbelievable, actually. You bet the Hikaru game, and if people had just joined us, there was quite a quick draw between the very talented Nils Grandelius of Sweden playing against Hikaru. Hikaru was outgrading him by over 100 points. But we have a result.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, I would say. With just missed resignation there by Julio Granda. But a bad day at the office.
Bad day at the office for him with the white pieces there. But and of course Wesley So just played a very good game. So what can you do when they play well? You know, it's tough. So
shall we go to our good friend David Howell? I just saw him sitting there next to Lizzie Pitts and Pavel Ilyanov. So see how he's getting on against Maxim Rothstein.
And again, I think we'll just do current positions at the moment because we've got a lot of games to cover.
I'm somewhat worried about David's time situation. It's okay. Only 10 minutes.
He's got a lifetime there. 4 minutes to David. That's too much time. The thing with David, he said even the other day when he was completely winning, he got to move 39 or something, and he almost lost some time. He had his normal 10 seconds left, and he went in a daydream. And he said he looked over at his clock and he saw he had 2 seconds, and he thought, I better move now, otherwise I'll lose. So he made a move, and he could have easily lost on time. So, so what's actually happening here?
What is happening here? So this started off. Oh, and we have another result. I don't know if we can get it on camera, if the players are gone. But Adams, who the game we were just looking at, Hu Yifan, was a draw.
Was a draw. It looked like it was.
And they are gone already. So.
Okay, they're gone. So so I don't think Mickey will be too happy with that. There's a lot of draws though, so I think people before the tournament thought these big guns would just go through the field, but they don't realise how strong grandmasters are. Not even weaker grandmasters can still play a bit of chess now and again, and they're not easy just to walk over. And this is what people are finding in opens, and maybe even Fabiano is going to find the curse of the open for him. You know, if he could lose, he's going to lose a serious amount of rating points if he loses today, and this is the risk.
So let's see. So this started off as a gioco piano. And what is this position? Okay, so white is hitting the b5 pawn, and how do we deal with that?
Oh, there's 2 pawns on pre, isn't there? There's obviously the pawn on f4, and there's the pawn on b5. So there's 2 targets that are being attacked, and that is already not a very good sign for David, because if you defend one pawn, the other one gets captured. I mean, I'd like to play a move like c4 here, you know, just to try to get active, and try to use pressure against e4 here. So I think, you know, you have to try some move like c4, but
if I just take on f4,
knight takes f4, and that is kind of what I was worried about. Yeah, very simple, just capture the pawn move. Well, do I have to move my rook? I mean, if I have to move my rook, I'm
David
losing.
now down, while we were talking, he's down to just 2 minutes, and he still has 15 moves to play. And what did he play?
He played g5, yeah. So he can't do this because that's just a simple recapture. Instead of c4, he has played g5.
So now I guess the move we need to look at is queen b5.
Yeah. I suppose the idea is to go c. Attempt takes b5 and now plays c4. Those pawns break up the structure. So actually this might be alright if he gets c4 in. This is not so bad, is it? Because 2 pawns up, but black should be fine here after knight takes e4 himself. All the black pawn white has is totally irrelevant. So this is what he's obviously doing. Can white play this a bit better after g5? Should white try to stop, or can white stop this c4 idea? It's not clear if he can even. I mean, I can go e5 and d4. That's another way to play. You can go e5. Let's say the knight moves somewhere. Then I can go, I don't know where. I can go d4, play like this, and just try to say, well, hang on a minute, my pawns are quite handy. I've still got pressure. So it seems that white should be better somehow, but I'm not sure how.
I also think so. And now let's go back to our top board. Start with board 2. Where apparently Fabiano has lost another pawn, so let's go and see what happened. 2
pawns down for Fabiano, right. That's a lot of pawns, so you better hope he's got some compensation. Okay, so the last time we looked was after here, and King G7 has been played, and that was kind of a move to, well, I mean, the pawn on D5 is now gone, so why not take it? If you can take a pawn and you can't see a reason why not to take the pawn, take the pawn.
Yep.
And now bishop e6, rook d6, rook c8. So I think Fabiano taking more risks here. He's saying, well, I have 2 pawns. I'm going to unbalance the position so I can even win this game. I mean, I don't think he should be winning this game at all. Rook a1, or have any chances to win the game, should I say. Now bishop g4. And just king g1. What was he actually doing here? Why is he? I don't understand what Fabiano is doing. Rook d2, because he gave up a second pawn really without thinking. And does he really have enough here for the 2 pawns?
I very much doubt it, but so it's white. That's the position on the board.
I mean, isn't this easily winning now for white? I mean, it looks horrible for Fabiano. Because you can't even get your rook to c7, c2, because the knight covers that square. I mean, he has got some active rooks. He has a little bit of pressure, but it's 2 pawns. I mean, it might be enough for 1 pawn, but not for 2. Not for 2, surely. I suppose white needs to come up with a plan, though, because he's tied down. He can't move this rook because there's a rook d1. He can't move the knight. So it's not...
I think it's looking very dark here for Fabiano. And look at his face.
I don't think he's happy.
No.
Yeah, it's looking very tough. But it's not. I mean, I was saying easily winning. I'm just thinking, well, hang on a minute, how's it easily winning? And I can't see any easy continuation for white here, to be honest.
I was wondering. I was looking at knight f3, but I guess then you might just be able to take.
Oh, knight to f3, okay.
I was thinking maybe you can take and play rook c4.
So takes, and rook c4. And if you can win 1 pawn back, it should be a draw now that the pawns are all damaged. Rook c4 is a good move, yeah.
Yeah, so knight f3 is probably not a good try.
You could also try f3. Let's have a look at that one, because I'm just wondering where the black bishop can go to. Where does that black bishop go? Where are we going to move that one? Are we going to go here? Well, I'll go here first to make you go g4, because I feel g4 could weaken the king.
Yeah, but can I play king h2?
King h2.
But you have rook c4 again, I guess.
Rook c4 is yeah, definitely Fabiano's idea, and if he gets that, and it might be all right. So let's see. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, well, I want to go f3. You go bishop f5, and I want to go g4 here. Just try to kick that piece around, and
okay, now go to e6.
Let's say you go to e6. Now, if I go knight g2, you go rook c2. But you got rook c4 always, haven't you? Rook c4 always. This is not so bad, actually. Quite clever defensive play from Fabiano, I think.
Okay, let's come back to this. Let Salem think about it for a bit. Okay. Let's go back to our top board, Shirov against Vidit.
The board 1 encounter, and either player wins here, they're going to have a serious advantage over the field. And Shirov did manage to win this pawn, so this was after a4, rook d4. He took on d4, and he simply captured on c5. So he's got a pawn up, king e6, rook d1, and another thing I mentioned yesterday is that Shirov's basically technique is really actually very impressive. I mean, people just assume he's known as a tactical player. He can't calculate, he can't play endings, but he can. He's a brilliant endgame player. I just saw a tweet there actually from Danny Gormali.
I was going to tell you, and because it was directed at you, and Danny Gormali is saying, not easy to make progress with such a bad knight on e1, Ginger DM. I predict a draw.
So that's in the Fabiano game, and Danny is probably completely correct in that last game, which we just saw, with Salem's bad knight, which couldn't get in the game. Fabiano might be holding that one. But anyway, on to the board 1, knight b3, and now, well, Shirov's taken this pawn, so he's got a passed outside pawn, and bishop b6.
And I guess the question is he going to manage and keep that pawn?
I think so. I think he should do. I mean, this is looking just lost for black, I think. This is like one of those technical book endings, really, where with the outside pass pawn, especially against the knight, it should be winning. I mean, you can just push, well, it's just simple, make it a queen. Make it a queen. And the bishop's actually very good, because the only weak spot that white has is the f2 square. And that bishop.
And if you look at Vidit's body language, he looks quite dejected.
Yeah, I think he knows he's losing this one, and I think a very nice game from Shirov, showing a lot of different aspects. And unless you can't win that a pawn here. The bishop kind of dominates the black knight, and black can't get any active counterplay here. So bit by bit, I think Shirov will win this one, and it's actually should be quite easy for him, I think, at this stage of the game. So it looks like Shirov, and I'm reasonably happy about that, because it's Shirov. I like the way he plays chess. He'll be the only leader. He'll be the only guy on maximum points. Sole leader on 4 points.
Should we go to another game I'm quite interested about? That's young Jordan van Foreest. And he was also a pawn up against Laurent Fressinet.
Yes. And wow, okay, well, it looks like it's not as good as it was.
No.
And if just for those of you who are wondering, last time we looked was on move 24 after queen f3, and it looked to us that white was a reasonably safe pawn up here. And very quickly, if we go through the moves, well, wow, what happened there? Okay. Laurent has managed to get his knight into a commanding square.
And he just got his pawn back.
And he's got his pawn back. So this is not bad at all for him now, probably. I mean, there is an issue here, and that is the rook on a6. But that's not a big issue, is it, at all? You know, not a big issue at all, because that rook on a6. I mean, even if you give up the pawn, even if you at some point.
I was wondering that, yeah.
I mean, at the right moment, just try to get it over or active. It's probably a draw, even if you get. It's going to be a draw, and Fresnay is obviously a very, very strong endgame player. I mean, he's quite a positional player, Lauren. And you have to remember, Fresnay is one of the main seconds of Magnus Carlsen. So, if you're not a good endgame player after spending time with Magnus Carlsen, then you're never going to be a good endgame player. So, you know, it's again like your pronunciation's getting bad being near me, and his endgames are getting good being near Magnus Carlsen, I think.
Right, so let's leave them off. Where do you want to go? Where shall we go?
Where shall we go? Okay, where shall we go? Let's go to Lawrence Trent, because
let's have a look at how Lawrence getting on.
And Lawrence has been brave with the dragon opening, and even on move 17, it's a theoretical position. And he's playing the quite legendary Peter Leko, who is, well, he's been an incredibly strong player for most of his life. Same age as me, I think, Leko, because I played him in the under-16 World Championships a long time ago. And I also fouled him at football once. That's my claim to fame.
Let's just get to the position on the board,
Why?
shall we?
I want to talk
rather
about
than having you dwell in your memories.
I like my memories.
No, because I was just looking at the clock times, and both players are quite short on time. So let's just fast forward and see what the position looks like now.
Right.
So. Queens come off.
Queens come off,
Boom.
and this is where we are here. So white is pawn up in this position, and it's looking pretty terrible for Lawrence, isn't it? You know, so don't you think?
Yeah,
I think it's looking pretty bad there. Pretty bad.
I was just wondering if he had any sort of, but look at that bishop. Bishop is not a happy piece. That knight doesn't really have a bright future.
Not a happy bunny. No. No, this looks terrible. I mean, because it's not just a pawn, but as you say, bishop dead, white knight fantastic on e4, and these pawns on the queen side are just going to go, thank you very much, and queen eventually. This is completely lost for Lawrence, and I think actually, you know, something went wrong in the opening there. So not a brilliant game there for Lawrence. Okay,
then let's go back to board 3. Let's go. I'm quite curious about this Caruana game, especially since he's so short on time. But yeah, as Danny pointed out in his tweet, that knight isn't a great piece on e1. So is Fabiano going to manage to hold on? Actually, we haven't had a move. How do we?
I don't think so. I think they've got the wrong names up for anyone watching there. This is the game on board 2 between. There we go. Got the players there. Salem and Fabiano. So no
Salem, I think we last looked at this. He had 15 minutes on the clock, so he has been in the tank for 10 minutes now. And I'm curious what he's going to come up with here.
I think Danny made a very good judgment call. It's the Grandmaster Danny Gormali, and he basically said this is probably all right, even though it's 2 pawns up. Look at that knight on e1. The knight on e1 is dead to the world. And active defence, Caruana has gone for his active defence. He's threatening rook c4 at some moment, and that should be okay. Okay, so let's try something else here. What about if I try d5? Let's try d5, and problem is I can go e6. So I want to go e6. This is my idea. So, for example, now rook c5 keeps the same kind of principle, attacking that pawn from the side, and I really want to go e6 now. So let me try to get out of this tactically with the e6 move. Well, it would be okay if you went pawn takes e6, because of course I can't take that pawn because the rooks are on pre. But I can go check first, the king moves somewhere, and then take that one. Actually, even this is a draw, you know, but I mean, this is probably a draw after the rooks come off. But actually a much better way to draw after e6 is just bishop takes e6, I think, unless a nasty tactic there, but no, that should be good enough. So that doesn't work. I can understand why White is having a long think here.
And I think also the problem in positions like this, if you can't find a move, and he's just played king h2, then you think back at, oh, I had such a great position before, what did I miss? And then you sort of get off track.
Yeah, you can't start reminiscing about, you know, as I do, you know, about
the good old times.
When I fouled Lecco in a football game. And yeah, well, you can see Shearoff there looks very confident.
And there
has he actually has Shearoff finished or?
No, I think he's still playing.
Okay, and right, we have another move. So King H2, Rook C4 has been played, and well, King G3. The interesting thing is, if you get to an ending like this, let's just say King here, Rook takes D4. Very normal way to continue. If you get to this ending, this is again a technical ending that you sort of learn about quite early on, often, and this is, you know, King 4 pawns against King and 3 pawns. Now, the reason this might be winning chances sometimes is that a knight is a really good piece to have when all the pawns are on the same area of the board. You know, that knight is actually better than the bishop in this position. Well, not in this position, but generally. But the knight is still awful here.
And also I want to say something. Tom Harper in the chat is saying Salem would consider a draw a victory against US champion Fabiano. Well, I think maybe in general you could sort of say that, but I mean Salem is a 2650 GM himself, and I can tell you in this game he will not consider a draw a victory at all. He will be quite upset with himself, I believe, because it's not every day you manage to play such a nice game and get what I believe was very close to being a winning position, and
I totally agree.
He will be very unhappy if this is a draw.
Exactly. If you're completely winning against one of the best players in the world, then you're not going to be happy to draw.
Also, Salem is a very strong player himself, and he has some very strong scalps of the same age as Fabiano.
Okay.
Like 22, 23-ish.
Right. Yeah, so still young, can still be very good, so yeah. Okay, so we'll come back to this one. It looks like we could get some ending where it now looks to drawing chances Fabiano are quite great, but you know, you can certainly push on for a long time here with the white pieces. Okay, and
shall we go back see how Shearoff is getting on?
Yeah, quick look at the board one game, and it looked like he was just cruising here, wasn't it? So not much has changed here. He's won this pawn, and that A pawn will become a queen. It's just going to march down the board here and become a queen. And I was thinking if the bishop ever gets to this square, it's going to be game over. I thought black might have to play f4 to stop that. Bishop completely dominates that knight on b3 in this position, and you're just going to push the A pawn up the board, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's completely winning.
And the reason Shearoff was walking around in the playing hall is that they have made time control already, so let's leave that for now. Try to stick with the games where we still have some time scramble situations. So can we find one of those?
Not so many tactical games going on today, really. I mean, there quite a lot of a lot of them have started tactical, but they're all like you know, fading away a little bit now into endings.
Okay, shall I just pick one at random and see?
We could go to
okay, let's go to Benjamin Bok.
Benjamin Bok, who lost yesterday against Vidit, and we can have a look how he's getting on.
He was on top there.
Okay.
Against that,
There we go. Wow. Okay. We won't go through the moves here, but a quick update of that game, and obviously this is winning because it's 2 pawns up. 2 pawns up in this position. So that is 2 pawns too many, and yeah, that's
not
quite
much to say here.
No,
should
not
be
much to say.
Fairly straightforward.
Easy win there. So after his loss yesterday, he's going to bounce back.
Okay, then I'll pick a game at random and pray.
Go on. Yeah, let's do our random pick game.
Let's go to Tiger.
Yeah.
I know. Oh yeah.
Tiger. You always go for Tiger when you expect an interesting game. Is that because of the name? No, it's the way he plays chess, isn't it?
So Tiger has the black pieces against Hemant, a player I don't know anything about, a player coming from India.
Is it going to be an interesting position? Is it? Oh, it's reasonably interesting, but not that interesting.
It's
kind of interesting.
It's pretty interesting, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
Compared to the other games we've been looking at today.
Yeah.
Or no, I shouldn't say that. I didn't mean that.
It's too late now. You can't take it back now. But you're basically saying all the games today are boring.
No, I mean yesterday was a was a really good day.
It was. I mean, I have to say, Salem's game today has been brilliant. It's just got to a stage now where it's getting more technical, and we're going to have a long game where he could have won it a lot quicker, probably. But
also, Shearoff's game was good, but it wasn't. It was a
quite technical thing.
Quite technical.
had a lot of promising moments to
Yeah.
it. And okay, well, the time situation here is probably like, well, how many moves have they made? They got 5 moves to make. Tiger, 47 seconds to go. Rook to a5 has been played, and okay, I mean it's looks pretty even to me at the moment. Even
Unless
material.
we're missing something. Because I wouldn't want to be black here, I have to say, with that king on h8, that back rank. I'm just looking at things like bishop d6 followed, but f1 is defended. F1 was square.
Yeah.
Okay, what if I try to bring my rook around, play rook c1 or rook b1? No, rook b1, because
And then
c8 is defended as well.
trying to bring it into
Yep.
b8 here. Looks like a good aggressive way to play the position. Tiger on defensive, isn't he? He's certainly
I think
backtracking here, which is unfortunate. We all like Tiger. And rook b1, rook b8 looks like a very standard idea. Maybe it allows Tiger to get a lot of checks though with his rook, so he might be doing.
Okay, so let's leave that. I suggest we maybe stick with Fabiano until they made the time control.
Okay, because Fabiano is very short at time. And
so let's go back to Salem against Caruana.
Possibly the big upset of the day. King g3 played, and we can have a look at time very shortly there. And Fabiano has just gone h5, and that's always a good kind of move to play in these endgame positions, even when the pawns come off. This sort of avalanche of pawns here, f7, g6, and h5, is certainly one of the best setups you can go for when they're all on the same side of the board, in rook and pawn endings, in bishop endings, and this is the case here. So what 5? Well, it's quite clever here as well, because if you go knight to f3, well, now you can take here, and this is an easy draw. I mean, 4 versus 3 in this position is a known easy draw. So he didn't go for that. Instead of going knight to f3, he's gone for rook to a7. And look at the time here as well. You have 1 minute 20 left and 1 minute 40 for white. So very critical moments. And this is just aiming, of course, to try and attack this square here. Is he even going to maybe give up his knight in some variations to hit that square? If you can get through to f7, it's going to be dangerous. So what do we do to stop this? Do we just take? Maybe we take on d4. This would be the first move. Take on d4, and then if you try rook f6 here,
then there's just rook d7.
Then there's rook d7.
He has just taken.
So he has simply taken the pawn, and we're going to get an ending still like this, where some chances, but not too many. So yeah.
I think Fabiano is going to survive this today.
Probably, yeah. I mean, if Magnus was white here, would you say the same?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I know with a knight, these positions can often... Do we have a bet on it?
Fabiano will hold.
Yeah, I don't really want to bet on this one, but I will. Okay, let's lose another £1. Go on then. Let's lose another £1. I'm going to bet on black. That's a really bad bet, actually. I'm just giving away my pounds to you.
Okay, let's go back. We will come back to this in a second, but let's go and check in with Lawrence. See how he's getting on.
I mean, it looks so bad with Lawrence, didn't it? I mean, it hasn't got much better here.
And Lawrence down to half a minute.
Half a minute as well. Why these English guys? They all like you know, get so short on time, don't they? They love the short time thing. I know. Lawrence Trent, Mickey's quite cool. He never gets short of time, but all the other guys do. Simply a big is coming down all the way. There's no way Lawrence can get active play here. I mean, there's nothing he can do here, and he's playing a very strong player. Lecco well in control of the situation, so that means Lecco now goes up and joins a good group there of players. So yeah, okay, right. And
shall we very quickly check in with David against Rothstein?
See how things developed.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, things have developed, and the last position we looked at, David Howe, very short of time, only a minute left, and
but only 4 moves to go. So
yeah. And let's just get to the right thing. G5 was played. Maxine did go for this central push, which look quite normal. And David's always trying to undermine the pawns with b4 and with c5. And now d5 played. Wow, those pawns very strong. Rook e7 and d6 played, rook e6. And this looks very bad for David at this moment in time. You can see Vidit there on the camera. He even looks a bit bored, doesn't he? He's like, well, not bored. He's just thinking, where did I go wrong?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, really rejected. And now pawn takes b4, queen takes b4, and it's looking so bad. He's a pawn down. He's gone bishop takes d6. So can he get to some drawish position? Rook e5, knight c6. And now he's just eliminated this knight here. So this is quite a pure position here. I'd imagine his chances are reasonably good to hold this. All the pawns on the same side. You might be able to get some fortress if you can just put your knight here and king here.
I would say he has good chances to hold.
Very good chances to hold.
But we will see.
Yeah.
Should we go back to Salem? They should be close to making the time control now.
Yeah, I think we'll stick with this until the time control comes, and then we'll take a short break probably. Around there. So okay, well look, this as soon as I have a bet, a minute later I regret it against you, and it's the same here. I'm not bitter at all.
And Salem is looking very unhappy as well, and that's what we were saying a minute ago. Someone in the chat was saying a draw against Fabiano would be like a victory, but not today.
No, not when you're winning. It doesn't matter who you play. If you're actually winning, then a draw is an awful result, isn't it? So, you know, really, really bad result. And after you take this one off the board, now you've got rid of your knight. I mean, someone as good as Fabiano knows easily how to draw this. You can see the look on the face there that this is clear. King to f3 played, and they've only got 2 moves to make. They've got a minute each. You've got to obviously watch out for a couple of tricks here, and the trick is e6 is the main trick in this position, possibly before the game. He has the white pieces. He's you know, if you're going to become...
I think I'm thinking,
yeah, if you want to become champion...
But Salem is definitely not one of them.
No. 6, and now g4 would be quite an easy draw. This rook will swing to b4 there. And we're getting... And how does white make any advancements? White's got to try to get his king in and play e6, but playing those moves is nearly impossible. More likely it is to gain... a draw, so be happy with a draw.
I think you're going to get your...
how many coins do I owe you now?
But then there's also Eliana and Lizzie, so...
Yeah, a short break after that one if we've done the time control now pretty much for the games. So let's go to the last hand. Unbelievable, clearly pushing a bit here, and now the rook transferring over to the h-file, trying to maybe get in its way around. Rookie, Lizzie's just got to sit and wait here. Yeah. I think actually a very good winning plan is this plan we mentioned before, maybe. You know, why can't you try to come in with your king like this? That looks like a decent idea, you know?
But I wonder if once you move your king, if I can maybe play g4.
And get counterplayed like that, yeah. So I've got a rook h, the black rook. Okay, well, we've done short for the...
I'm thinking,
yeah, if you want to become champion.
But Salem is definitely not one of them.
No. 6, and now g4 would be quite an easy draw. This rook will swing to b4 there. And we're getting, and how does white make any advancements? White's got to try to get his king in and play e6, but playing those moves is nearly impossible. More likely it is to gain a draw. So be happy with a draw.
I think you're going to get your...
how many coins do I owe you now?
But then there's also Eliana and Lizzie, so...
Yeah, a short break after that one if we've done the time control now pretty much for the games. So let's go to the last hand. Unbelievable, clearly pushing a bit here, and now the rook transferring over to the h-file, trying to maybe get in its way around. Rookie, Lizzie's just got to sit and wait here. Yeah. I think actually a very good winning plan is this plan we mentioned before, maybe. You know, why can't you try to come in with your king like this? That looks like a decent idea, you know?
But I wonder if once you move your king, if I can maybe play g4.
and get counterplayed like that, yeah. So I've got a rook h, the black rook. Okay, well we've done short for the So let's go to the last man. Unbelievable, clearly pushing a bit here, and now the rook transferring over to the h file, trying to maybe get in its way around. Lizzie's just got to sit and wait here. Yeah. I think actually a very good winning plan is this plan we mentioned before, maybe. You know, why can't you try to come in with your king like this? That looks like a decent idea, you know.
But I wonder if once you move your king, if I can maybe play g4.
And get counterplayed like that, yeah. So I've got a rook h, the black rook. Okay, well we've done short for the okay, well we've done short for the